Welcome everybody to today's webinar, Orientation to the 2020 Virtual ATE Conference. My name is Mike Lisecki, I'm your host, and now it's my privilege to introduce our main presenter, Ellen House from the American Association of Community Colleges. Welcome, Ellen, it's great to see you again this year.
Great, thank you, Mike. It's good to be here. I know that our webinar is brought to you by ATE Central, so thanks to Mike and thanks to the folks at ATE Central as well. As Mike said, I'm Ellen Haas. I'm the Program Director for Academic and Student Affairs with AACC. And I'd also like to introduce my colleague, Courtney Larson, ATE Project Coordinator, very instrumental in this event. And Courtney is featured in chat. She'll be helping to address any questions that come in through chat and sharing links and resources as needed. So please feel free to use the chat window to put in questions at any time. We have some question breaks throughout. And we're really here just to give you an overview of this event and hopefully address some questions prior to going into the virtual conference. So it's a great pleasure to welcome you today. I do want to start by saying that this entire shift from an in-person conference to a virtual one has been quite the learning curve. I'm sure many of you can relate to that conversion to online. We will certainly greatly miss seeing everyone and having the opportunity to gather in person. But I do really want to express our appreciation. We're very thankful to the AT community for working with us, for your patience and your support while we've attempted to translate this event to an online environment. So thank you. On this slide is what we'll go over today, an overview. I'm briefly going to touch on registration. Hopefully you're all registered. Go over the agenda, ATE Connects and virtual networking, just a bit on student participation, and we'll show you some screenshots of our platform, which is under development and launching next week, and some access tips. So with that, let's talk about the what, when, who, and why. We used to have where in there, but now we know where is everywhere. So to start, I'd like to get a sense of how many people have attended the ATE-EPI conference before, or if this is your first time in 2020. So if we could launch that poll, and that is up now.
Ellen, I got a bunch of results coming in. Let's give them, they probably know the answer to this one, so I'm going to count down and then we'll go ahead and end the poll. 5, 4, hit those buttons, folks. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
I should have put in answer more times than I can count, because I know that there are many that have been with us since the beginning.
So take a look. There you go.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so we do have a good mix of folks. The majority are new to the ATE conference, so welcome. I'm glad to see some veterans on here as well, as I know this is a shift for all of us, and I encourage you to share and chat as well. I know this is a virtual experience for everyone, but if you want to share anything about the AT community, particularly as it's helpful to our new attendees, please feel free. Okay, so continuing along, since we do have a good percentage of folks that are new to ATE, I did want to briefly kind of give you a little bit of background on the conference itself. This is the Advanced Technological Education Principal Investigators Conference, or we refer to it as the ATE-PI Conference, or ATE Conference for short. It's a national professional development and networking event for ATE grantees and their project partners. And it's co-sponsored by the National Science Foundation and the American Association of Community Colleges. And the conference is primarily funded through a grant to AACC. For those of you who may not be familiar with AACC, we're the primary advocacy organization for the nation's community colleges, and we represent nearly 1,200 community colleges, 2-year associate degree granting institutions, and more than 12 million students. And AACC has been working with NSF to host the annual conference for the past 26 years. This is our 27th annual event, and obviously our first one to go virtual. So the conference typically held in October of every year. We're staying true to that. We're holding it October 19th through 23 between the hours of 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern. We will start with pre-conference workshops held on Monday, October 19th, and then the conference officially kicks off Tuesday, October 20th with an opening plenary at noon. I do want to note that when this was an in-person event, it was 2.5 really long days with lots and lots of content and activity. And in this translation, the shifting of cultures to a virtual environment, we tried to distill some of that content, make it manageable for a virtual environment. We understand digital fatigue is very real, so we spread out the event. We are doing no more than the 4 hours of content a day. And I do want to lay the expectation that we, under no circumstances, expect you to attend every single session. We certainly would encourage you to participate as much as you're able and join the sessions for which you and your team feel will be of most benefit to you. And if you do miss them, we are recording the content, and it'll be available on demand for 3 months following the event. Okay, so here's the website. Hopefully you've all been there. Our theme this year, Resilience and New Frontiers. We just posted the conference agenda to the website under the program page, and I will be getting out an announcement to everyone after this webinar to that as well. So certainly I think everybody just left this webinar and went over to look at the agenda, but to make you aware, thanks to the contributions from the AT community, we're featuring 64 sessions over 5 days, and I'll go over what those sessions entail, as well as the AT Connect session, a dedicated Slack workspace for virtual networking, and student posters. Do note that our virtual platform will launch on October 15th. It will launch from this site, so I'll show you some screenshots of that towards the end of this webinar, since it's still being built. But just so you're aware, this is still the place to go. There'll just be a place to launch off of this to actually access the conference platform to view all the sessions and to participate. Okay, so quickly, who attends for those that are new? In an in-person environment, approximately 900 people come to this conference each year, including ATE project and center PIs, co-PIs, and grant partners from business, industry, K-12, and four-year institutions. NSF program officers and AACC staff also attend, and select guests representing the federal government and STEM-related nonprofits and associations. And then that composite of people will hold true for the virtual environment. This year's virtual environment also includes 34 student attendees, and we'll talk a little bit about the student sessions in this webinar as well. And certainly one of the advantages to moving to a virtual format and looking at the positives in this is that AT projects and centers can bring full teams to attend the conference, not having to worry about travel or funding for travel. So we'll be very curious to see how our numbers play out in a virtual space. I think we're currently just over 600, and I imagine in the next week we will pick up even more, as I know the deadlines are when people really get moving to register. So why attend? Well, obviously one of the compelling reasons is that NSF requires you to do so, but we hope rather than a requirement, you think of this as a benefit to being an ATE grantee. And again, we're aware of your time and all the challenges that are ongoing right now, and we've endeavored to try to produce an event that will help you develop professionally and connect, albeit virtually, with other ATE grantees. It's our hope participation in this conference enables you to understand the national impact ATE has on technician education and the part your project plays in this important work. So the conference provides a unique type of professional development, especially the learning that results from peer sharing in the context of being an ATE grantee and a technician educator. So hopefully you'll learn things that'll help you in the world of today, and hopefully a more positive outlook in the world of tomorrow. We have a very strong focus on addressing challenges around managing our grants and programs during the pandemic and sharing strategies around teaching and learning. To help us with all these issues we're facing. We're all connected, and there's been a lot of innovation and really amazing things coming out of this community in the face of all this. And community is perhaps the most important reason to come to this conference to participate. You're joining a community of people who are all not only very interested in your work, but truly understand all the joys and the challenges of being an innovator in technician education. It's harder to replicate community building and networking in a virtual space, but I'll talk to you about how we're going to attempt to do that. And you certainly will not be alone. We're all connected in this, and trying to make sure that we're able to have the dialogues, the conversations, and share the information that will benefit all. Quickly, just to go through registration, because hopefully you have registered. The deadline is October 16th. As a general bit of background, we get a list of active awards from NSF, and we reach out to the ATE PIs and ask them to share the information with their teams, as we're only given one initial point of contact. So if you have not shared this information with your teams, please do so. To register for the event, you just go online and enter your grant number. For ATE projects, you have 5 complimentary spots. Centers have 7 complimentary spots. And if you're in a project in a long no-cost extension or one that is recently expired, we'd still love to have you, and we give you 2 complimentary spots. If you have any issues with registration, on the screen you see the email and the phone number to contact. We're very fortunate to have NSF support for this event. We are purposely not charging any registration costs, and we really encourage you to bring full teams to attend with you. Now I'd like to just cover some of the conference sessions. So we were trying to mirror a little bit of what we do in an in-person environment. So some of it is familiar, though, for those that have attended in the past, though certainly it will look differently online. But we are offering pre-conference workshops, plenary and concurrent sessions, spotlights, demonstrations, and synergy meetings. I'm just going to touch on each of these and how they're being delivered and how they'll look in a virtual environment. So we'll be starting with pre-conference workshops on Monday. We have our Getting Started for New Grantees, and I will talk a little bit about that in a moment. Workshop B, which is hosted in collaboration with Evaluate on Use It or Lose It, how to get the most out of your project evaluation. It's a popular workshop. It is actually already full, so hopefully you registered if you were interested in that. And Workshop C, Align Your College's Strategic Mission with NSF ATE, the presidential perspective. And this is by invitation and geared toward community college presidents, chancellors, and senior administrators, really trying to engage leadership in ATE and creating and supporting a culture that supports the faculty leaders that write and manage these awards, and aligning the college's strategic roadmap with NSF ATE. I'm very excited to say we have over 55 presidents and upper-level administrators who are engaged in this work. Just to touch a little bit on the plenary sessions. Again, this was hot off the presses with our agenda that was released. We will open the conference, the Tuesday plenary is at noon after some introductions from NSF and AECC. Celeste Carter, lead ATE program director with NSF, will facilitate our opening panel. We have these individuals, these industry and policy leaders that will be engaging in a dialogue on equity inclusion through innovation, the road to recovery and reinvention, and really looking at the need for equitable access to digital technology, the importance of promoting inclusion and innovation in preparing students with technical skills, and things about meeting the changing needs during this current and hopefully very soon post-pandemic workforce. And then as a bookend to that, our Friday keynote speaker, Amber Mack, will be speaking on relentless adaptation. It's a fun phrase, relentless adaptation in the age of COVID-19. So really looking at technology trends in rapid acceleration through COVID-19, their impact on the future of work, and what this is going to mean to all of us. She's got some amazing visuals and videos to share. She herself is a technology expert on Bloomberg, Fast Company, and SiriusXM. Her bio will be available on the platform, but just to make you aware of the 2 plenaries that we have planned. And then our concurrent sessions, again, this is something that we try to carry over from our in-person event. So following our opening session, and I should mention, as I didn't, is that both plenaries are live. So they're streaming live. So with all the fun and excitement that goes with a live event, we hope that you embrace that and that the technology gods are smiling on us on the week of the ATE conference. But there will be an opportunity in both of the plenary sessions to put questions into chat where the session speakers will address them. Similar to that, our concurrent sessions, these will run after our opening, will also run live. These will be live streaming panels on the topics that you see here. You'll also have the opportunity to put questions and engage in dialogue and chat. Presenters will address those questions as part of the end of their sessions. And in addition, we're trying something a little new with the concurrent sessions, is when these sessions conclude, there will be a link next to the session description for a virtual hallway. So if you had a comment you really wanted to share, a question that didn't get answered, you can click on the virtual hallway, which will take you to a Zoom room where the presenters will go and hang out for another 15 minutes, just as they would in an in-person setting over over the break to chat with some of the attendees that stuck around after the session. So we're hoping to mirror that and have some more engagement with presenters through a virtual hallway after these sessions. And this will all be detailed on the conference platform as well. So a little bit of contrast in terms of sessions. We have the demonstration and spotlight sessions. And I should back up slightly and just say that, AACC issued a call for sessions for conference participants to submit proposals to conduct demonstrations and spotlights and synergy sessions. So this conference is for you and by you, and all of this content was generated by ATE-PI. So again, we thank you for your contributions to this event. To talk briefly about a spotlight, on the screen there is a picture of what, if this were an in-person meeting, a spotlight might look like. It's more of a formal panel or a series of presenters talking about targeted areas of need within the ATE community. And then demonstration sessions, so spotlights, are 50 minutes in length, and then demonstration sessions are 30 minutes, and that's really more how to showing how to apply a pedagogical tool or concept, and the presenter will walk attendees through a step-by-step explanation, how it compares to other tools, how it could be applied or implemented. I do want to note that these sessions have been pre-recorded. They will be aired at the date and time that they are listed in the conference agenda, and the presenters will be live in chat. So rather than saving up your questions for the end and maybe one or two get addressed, what we're hoping to achieve is having an ongoing dialogue while the video is going. If you've got a question, put it into chat. The presenters are there live. They will have addressed themselves, introduced themselves at the beginning of the session in chat. The chat window has a way to, it will highlight the session presenters, so you know that the highlighted folks are the people who are actually presenting in the session, and they can address questions in real time as the pre-recorded content plays. In addition, we're really looking at the chat windows as that community piece, so you're not just watching something at your office or in your living room or wherever we are these days in this virtual setting, but that you are a part of a community engaging in a dialogue, asking and addressing questions. So we certainly look at chat as not just a feature to ask questions of presenters, but also a place to input resources to share with one another, to seek out colleagues. So really look at that as a dialogue that's occurring alongside the content. So that talks a little bit about demonstration and spotlight sessions. And then we have synergy meetings, and these are different, where obviously demonstration and even our live streaming sessions are going to be kind of that broadcast mode, and then the chat. Synergy meetings are conducted live in Zoom. So you would click through the platform and it would open up a Zoom meeting that you would go into with your presenters. Each of the facilitators for these sessions are structuring them a little bit differently. Some are using Zoom breakouts. Some are actually calling on participants to come on camera, come on microphone, and share what's going on in their programs. So they really are an opportunity for grantees to network, to share insights, to explore ways to collaborate around areas of similar interest. So we hope we have a good diverse array of sessions. I am going to talk about the AT Connects piece and the virtual networking piece, which I know is significant in this next section. But before we did that, I thought I would just pause and see if there were any questions at this point.
Ellen, thank you. You might need a glass of water. You're talking so much there. You're really on the thing here, but thank you very much. A couple of questions came up, and Courtney answered them, but I'd like to emphasize them. So let's talk about what you have to register for, and sign up for. It's only the 3 pre-cons, right? The other sessions, you just choose them and go to them.
Correct. You do have to sign up for the conference itself.
Yes.
So you register, and if you were signing up for anything additional, it would be the pre-conference workshops. So those do require advanced registration. When you go into those sessions, if you had not pre-registered for them, it wouldn't recognize you or allow you in. For the rest of the conference platform, I'll show the screen a few slides down. To access the virtual conference platform, you'll need to enter your email address, the one that you registered for the conference with, and it'll validate that email. And then you can go into any session. You don't have to sign up or save a seat. All the sessions are open.
So people are excited about this idea of the virtual hallway. But how does that work? I mean, am I going to have to turn on my camera and my audio? Is it going to be that sort of interaction, or is it chat-based? How's it going to work?
I think it could be either. Certainly, it's going to go into a Zoom room, and I think it's going to depend on how many people go in, and then the presenters will either take the questions in chat or call on you if you raise your hand. So I think if there's, if basically everybody moves from one to the other, we probably would do a chat-based forum. But
Yeah.
the hope is that maybe it's more smaller or intimate, and people would come on and feel comfortable asking their question in a Zoom meeting and being called upon to do so.
Sure. Jumping back to registration again, you mentioned that there's a certain number of invitees allowed for each project and center. Was it 5 and 7? Do I remember that correctly?
Correct.
Can I invite my industry partner, my grant developer? They're not formally members of my project team.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of we're not going to prescribe who among your 5 you can bring. If it makes sense to bring your business office administrator, because they really need to understand the extra
Sure.
hours they're putting in on federal compliance by coming to this, or an administrator that needs to understand, how these grants are unfolding, or as you said, an industry partner or a community partner. So we in no way limit or restrict who you can bring. We just try to keep it to the 5 and 7 because we are still trying to deal with a manageable size even in a virtual setting.
Sure, of course. Well, good. Thank you for that. Another registration question. Is there a waiting list for those workshops? You mentioned some are already full.
The only one that is full is the evaluation workshop.
Okay.
We have not yet started a wait list. If somebody, we certainly could if that was of interest.
Yeah.
I think it'll be and if somebody actually cancels, then we could put that person in.
Sure.
But those restrictions are more so because they were doing a lot of breakouts in Zoom, and again, if that gets too big, it would not work with the design.
Right. Last question, and then we'll go ahead. You might address this later, so excuse me if I'm bringing it forward. Are there any accommodations for the visual or hard of hearing?
Yes, so all of our live sessions will be live captioned. The spotlights, the demonstrations will be captioned as well. Synergy meetings, if you indicated that you need ASL interpretation, we are reaching out to you to find out which Synergy sessions you are attending, and we will be putting interpreters in those rooms. And then ATE Connects, one of the reasons that our deadline is today is because we're taking all those audio and video files and having them captioned as well. In terms of site, if you reach out to us, we can put you in touch with our production team to help you with readers or whatever is necessary to help in that regard as well.
Well, thank you. That's appreciated very much. And so thank you, Ellen. That's it for our questions for this period. Why don't you go ahead into the presentation? I'll go ahead and turn off my camera.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about ATE Connects. I know this is probably top of mind with the deadline today. Just to give you a little bit of overview of the design and what we're hoping to achieve, how we're organizing it, and what to expect. So the ATE Connects, this is a key component of the event. We're really designing it to offer projects and centers this opportunity to virtually network and connect with other conference participants to explore the ATE community and engage in the sharing of information and resources. It's really designed to foster interactivity. So the session provides 75 minutes of dedicated time to encourage participants to explore and engage with as many projects or centers as they're able to in that time frame. And then afterwards, it will be on demand. You can go in at any time following the opening and take a look at what's there and still communicate with others through the Slack channels and direct messaging, which I'll talk about shortly. So for those that have attended the ATE conferences in the past, this is really not meant to replicate the showcases so much as to offer an opportunity to connect with and try to learn from other grantees in a virtual setting. To prepare for these sessions, we ask participants to prepare a 90-second video or audio PowerPoint file in an MP4 format and a one-page PDF. And those materials were really, I know people struggled with that 90 seconds because you're all doing such amazing work. But the materials were really meant to serve as a high-level overview of your program, a little bit of your elevator speech, just to kind of get a flavor of it, or to highlight a very specific strategy or resource of interest or relevance right now to the AT community that can be implemented. So again, it was not intended to describe the full scope of your project, though in your PDF, you could include links to websites, longer videos, other resources, so people that want to take a deeper dive can do so. But it's really, again, just designed to give you a little bit of what's going on in all of your projects and centers, to have people seek you out through the virtual networking component of the conference, through the Slack workspace that we're rolling out next week, and that I'll talk about momentarily. So as you see here, these icons should look familiar if you've looked at the ATE Impacts book, but we're grouping the ATE Connect submissions in the same way that the ATE Impacts book was categorized. And so when you submit your ATE Connects, we ask you to select a discipline area. And so what this is going to look like on the user side is you're going to come into the ATE Connects page, where you're going to have essentially 8 rooms. If you want to think of it as 8 exhibit halls, you can, though again, this is not an exhibit hall, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But you would go into, for example, the biochemical technology page, and that would be all the projects and centers that have selected that discipline. In that page, those are searchable by PI last name, by institution, and by keyword. So you can go in and narrow down what you want to take a look at. You would click on those individual submissions to view the abstracts and the materials. There will be an email box, so even for the 2 months after the event, 3 months after the event, you're able to contact that individual through that box. Contact box on the session page, and then a direct message button. And that's the Slack piece, where you would click direct message if you wanted to, in real time, get in touch with this individual. We will also have Slack communication channels, so these group chat channels organized around these discipline areas, really trying to create conversations and dialogue to go along with the pieces of the AT Connect session, and that this also serves as a communication vehicle for the entire event. Again, when we were designing this, we were trying to keep it simple. We chose purposely not to create the very large virtual exhibit hall with avatars where we were going to ask you to pre-populate booths. We chose to structure this more along the lines of snapshots and opportunities to connect, and to structure it around direct messaging versus a live chat, because the last thing we wanted was PIs to be sitting by a blinking cursor in a live chat box with nobody coming by, and that's where your attention is, versus you are out in the IT room looking at all the other submissions as notifications come in Slack. So essentially you're able to kind of look and explore, and also while you're engaging is what we're trying to accomplish with these sessions. But in order for this to work, as I've talked about, we're going to need conference participants to join our conference Slack workspace. And I'm going to talk about that here. So we'll talk about the Slack workspace, the conference channels, and resources for download for use. And again, this is something we're rolling out next week. On October 13th, all registered participants will get an invitation to join the Slack workspace. It's pretty intuitive to click that and to join. It is a tool for community engagement, for group chat, for direct messaging. And it is our attempt to really get at one of the hallmarks of the AT conference, which is that opportunity to engage colleagues and to share promising practices and lessons learned. So we're trying to build in that opportunity for collaboration and connection in a virtual setting through this tool. So as I mentioned, the Slack workspace, the place to go to chat with conference participants, particularly around the AT Connect sessions, offers a space to catch up, direct message, and then take part in group chats in specific channels. As I mentioned, we will have a chat channel for each of those STEM discipline areas in which the AT Connect sessions are grouped. You can download Slack to any device, or if you don't want to download it, you can access it through the web. We're recommending that you use your desktop applications. It would make it easier for attendees to multitask with the desktop app open. You can keep an eye on the conference chat while also viewing AT Connects or other sessions, though some may want to do it on their phone and keep them completely separate, or another mobile device. That's completely up to you. When you come into our Slack workspace, when you accept the invitation to join, we would ask you to create a user profile. You can set your notification settings, and you'll want to take a look at that. You can have every single time anything is posted, you can be alerted. You can change that so it's just when you are direct message, or you can turn off notifications altogether if that's your preference, but you do have that capability. We have some short tutorials and instructions on our conference website. And again, we'll be rolling out more information on this next week. But just to give you a preview of our event channels, when you come into Slack, you would come into announcements where we have some general conference information. We have a help channel where you could seek assistance in Slack. And then these are the community chat and AT Connect session channels. Just to give you a sense, if you've never worked in or seen Slack, it is really an intuitive tool, very simple to set up a profile and navigate. You would come in, and these are our channels on the left. You would come into announcements, which is here. We also have a private student and an alumni channel, so the students can communicate with one another. And then you would see other participants. You have the capability to select and direct message with other individuals in the conference in this platform. We will ask you to come in and set your profile, and we'll ask you to please include your full name in your full name, because we are marrying this with the AT Connect sessions. We want to make sure we are putting the direct link to direct message you through Slack next to your AT Connects session. And certainly if you want to engage in the conversation around AT Connects or be able to direct message as a participant with those that have submitted AT Connects materials, you'll want to join Slack as well. And then this is just an example of a group channel chat. And we will have people designated to these channels, stirring up some interesting conversation and posting some things. So we can use it for group conversation and sharing of resources, as well as the capability to direct message one another. And you can create small groups within Slack. So if I direct message so-and-so PI, and they could pull in 3 other people to that conversation, and you can have your own side little conversation going. So there's a nice opportunity to replicate hallway conversations, not in Zoom, but in Slack throughout the event using this tool. Okay, and then as I mentioned on our website, there are several tools, how to download Slack if you prefer to have it as an app versus interface with it through the web, how to configure notifications, and they're very short. Slack has some really very easy to follow videos on that. So I do have 2 more sections to cover quickly, but I know that the AT Connects and the virtual networking may have created some questions. So I keep disappearing into the blue screen. Sorry, everyone.
No, you're looking good. It's fine, Ellen. Thank you. A couple of questions. It's interesting. This last section is largely talking about the interactive nature, which we hope the conference will be. A couple of detailed questions. I think most people get it. We're more cognizant today of Zoom and things like Slack. Here's a detailed question. If we're in these things and chatting, can we copy the chat? Sometimes a resource will appear and larger. We want to capture those things. Is it possible to copy a Zoom chat, a Slack chat?
Yes, a Zoom chat you can absolutely download and copy. For just to back out of the Zoom and the Slack piece, for spotlights or plenaries, those chat boxes are a little different, but the chats will be saved as files that can be downloaded for you. So they'll be posted with the session recordings. The chat will be there as a file.
Okay.
In terms of Slack, yes, you can also capture those conversations, and we'll keep this up for a little bit after the event as well before closing the channels, or if people just love this and want to continue it, we'll see if people want to string it out for a little bit. But absolutely, there's the capability to capture those resources or capture the conversations.
Good, thank you. And Slack is a chat only, right? It's not a video, or is it a video option also?
There is a video option within chat. So if you are direct messaging with an individual, there is a call icon where you could actually set up a call right then and there to have a conversation.
All right, thank you. Now here's a question about the Connect session, and I think there is some uncertainty about this, about what we're actually presenting. And so one of our colleagues said they have a PowerPoint to present, but not sure about the video. In fact, they're not presenting a PowerPoint are they at all? They're just, you know, they're showing their one-pager in a video. That's really what they're doing here, right?
Yes, there's not an actual presentation component. You
Right.
are submitting those materials. They are with your abstract, with the listing of your project, with what you've submitted. And they're there for people to go in and download and take a look at. The connectivity is there's a ability to direct message you right then and there with questions, and to and then you also can go in and engage in conversation in the Slack channel. So we wanted to get away from, you know, not to draw a parallel back to what we've done in person, the
Sure.
showcase idea, where
Sure.
it's
Sure.
really about, here's everything I have, I'm showing you everything,
Right.
and more
Yeah.
the connection piece and the engagement piece of, I'm going to go and see what else is out there. At the same time, I can help someone else, you know, maybe understand a little bit more about what I have. So you're really creating those dialogues aside the resources, rather than we're trying to get every single thing out on the
Right.
table.
Right. Good. That makes a lot of sense. One last question for this section, and now Courtney answered it in the chat, but I'd like to bring it forward again. For many of us, the PI conference in the past has been an opportunity to actually meet or reconnect with our program officer. My understanding from Courtney's response is there's not a specific time to do that, but hopefully through these Slack channels and other mechanisms, we can at least make a connection with them.
Yes, that is correct. So the program officers will be attending. They'll be in AT Connects. They'll be participating in Slack channels. And you know, if they're open to it, and I don't know if Celeste is on the call or Corby, but there's potentially the capability you could direct message them as well through Slack.
Sure, sure.
I will put the caveat that even in an in-person event, could be difficult to find your program director at the ATEPI conference. And as always, any advance notice or interaction with them is preferable, even though this is a virtual environment.
Yes, yes.
If you want to connect with your program officer, you know, go ahead and email them now and say, you know, here's my session. Love it if you were in chat, or could we engage in Slack? You could be
I think that's a
proactive
good
about
idea.
trying to find them.
Being proactive, that's a really good idea. And I remember, you know, in the beginning, you're always not sure, would a program officer mind being emailed? They don't. They want that connection with you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Right, good. Ellen, that's it for this question period, and we're perfectly on time, so you're doing good.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So just moving ahead, just a few other pieces, and then we'll see if there are any final questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about student participation and some of the student sessions. Thank you to the PIs that nominated students to attend the conference. We opened up a student application process. We asked project and center PIs to submit up to 2 students to attend. We have 34 students attending this year. It is less than we would have in an in-person setting, though we certainly understand that the carrot of a virtual event is very different from a trip to Washington, D.C. But we're thrilled to have 34 students that are very enthusiastic and very engaged in participating virtually. We want to have you tune into the ATE Student Spotlight. This will be October 22nd at noon. It kicks off our day on Thursday. This will be a panel of 4 of the students that are attending the conference and a facilitator talking about the impact of COVID on their education and career paths, strategies that they feel could help with student engagement and enrichment in a virtual environment, and ways to promote innovation while preparing students for the STEM workforce. So we're excited by that. We have a nice group of students that are involved. And I do want to point out that as a spotlight, this content has been pre-recorded, but the students and the facilitator will be live in chat introducing themselves. And in addition to the student presenters, we've invited all the students to be a part of the session, to be a part of chat. So we're hoping to have a really interesting dialogue with a lot of student attendees as a part of this event. And this event coincides with the kickoff of the virtual student poster session. So this will actually run, I guess, like a traditional online student poster session, in the sense that you will be able to go in and see all the student posters. And when you click on that student's name and title, you'll see a little bit of information about them, and then their poster will open in an Adobe Reader, so you're able to zoom in and really take a look at their posters. And you'll be able to, while they're not presenting either in the traditional sense that they are also able to be direct messaged through Slack. And I would encourage you to do it if you know, even if it's just to say, hey, I really enjoyed looking at your poster, or that was a wonderful point about X, Y, or Z, just to show some encouragement for these students that are coming into a virtual space and looking to connect around those. And certainly once those are open, they will be on demand as well. Just a little bit about student activities. So in addition to the panel and the student poster, we're excited to do a student industry speed networking session. This is something we always do at an in-person event. You can see an actual photo of that from last year, where they get in small groups with industry. And we're able to replicate this fairly well in a virtual setting, where we're going to go in through Zoom and put them into small breakout rooms. And it's really wonderful. We have a smaller group of students in an online environment and a good number of industries, so we'll really be able to give them some direct interaction in these small groups, and we'll be able to change them around, so it won't be quite speed networking, but they'll be able to go in and meet a few different industry representatives and have that level of direct interaction. So we're excited about that opportunity for them as well, and for our industry partners who are looking forward to this. Just a little bit about the platform and access. I'm going to give you a few screenshots with the caveat that this is still in beta. We are still testing, but we will roll it out next week, and a little bit of system requirements, things to think about to connect, to have a successful conference from the user side. So this is what the portal will look like. On the outside, as I mentioned, you will need to put in the email that you registered for the conference with. If you decide to use a personal account and you registered from your work account, it won't recognize you, but you can contact the registration help desk and we can get that squared away. But certainly the email that you registered with will get you access. It's only one user, so if you decide to share your email address with 20 people, it will kick 19 of those out, and one of them may be you. So you'll want to use only want to use one login. And then just to note, you know, our virtual event code of conduct, some of which Mike talked about in terms of you know, being courteous and understanding that our sessions are recorded, and certainly anything said in chat somewhere is recorded, or somewhere someone can see. So just to be cognizant of that. Just looking at how it's laid out, so we hope that it'll be very easy to read and navigate. You can see some of the tabs. You would go into the agenda and you would click on the actual session, and that's where you would connect. I've only shown the top half because we're still developing the bottom half, but the agenda will be by day. You'll see the title. Below it would be the presenters, the description, and for each of the presenters, you would click to find their bios and their photos. So it's all accessible in one place, and then you would click to join the session at the session time. If the session started at 1, you would click to join that session, and you would be it would open up. You're going to open into a new window with a video viewer if it's a live session or a pre-recorded session, and then that content will start at the designated time. If it's a Zoom meeting, such as a Synergy, it's going to take you out into that Zoom meeting. Just some things to think about for connectivity. So the back, we've said Zoom a lot, and that's because the back of this platform is powered by Zoom. It's recommended you download it. We know some people have restrictions on Zoom and cannot do so, so you can certainly connect through the web. We do recommend that you use Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge as your browser, and you have the most current version running. Internet Explorer is not compatible with the virtual platform. It'll work, but it's very, very buggy. We've been told the #1 error or help desk question that folks get is that they're using Internet Explorer. And speaking of that, I just want to back up. It's not on here, but at the bottom of each page, there is a little chat help box, so you can get tech support anytime by clicking the bottom right of a page. Will open up a chat box so you can engage with tech support in real time if you're having any issues with connectivity or access. Internet connection, I think it goes without saying that particularly when you are streaming the live sessions, certainly engaging that having a strong internet connection is helpful. You don't want a lot of other people downloading and streaming if you can at all help it. having multiple people in Zoom at my house at any given time. I understand this, but just there are on our conference website basic speeds and download speeds that we recommend you have for optimal viewing, and you could conduct a speed test if you're worried about your connectivity at all. So again, the complete system requirements for users, if you're connecting through your desktop or through a mobile device, you can see what's required there. And I think that brings us to our last question break. These are our students from last year. I'm so going to miss seeing big groups of students and all of you. But they are why we do what we do. They're the resilience that we have. They foster the creativity and the innovation that's coming out of this challenging time. And so we really look forward to connecting with everyone, even though it's virtual. And sharing all those promising practices and those lessons learned, and continuing to build this strong AT community. So I don't know if we've got any questions, or I know I've talked everyone's ear off. So
No, it's been good, Ellen. We do have a couple of questions. I wanted to mention that while we were talking today, I actually, probably like many of us, pulled up that ATE program online. I downloaded it, and boy, it looks good. There is a lot of interesting stuff there. So I want to encourage people, if you scan back up in the chat, you'll see the link, or you can just nose your way through the URL, atepiconference.com. So thank you for doing that. Here's a question that came in. My grant was funded in July of this year, just a few months ago. Should I participate in the Connect section?
We are recommending that you do so, but the requirements are different. It's on the AT Connects page. We certainly know you don't have data or outcomes to share, and certainly even those that started earlier than that, things have shifted due to COVID. But if you are a new grantee, we're still asking you to prepare a basic one-pager, but it's more about what you're hoping to achieve and some of your grant objectives and goals, just so there's so someone knows if they're looking to collaborate in that space that you're someone else out there that is working in that area, so you can make connections. So it's a simple one-pager. We're not asking new grantees to do videos or PowerPoints, but just to create a one-pager, and there's a template on the website to guide you through that.
Thank you, Ellen. Back to registration workshops. Can you sign up for more than one workshop? Let's suppose you have a team and one goes to A and one goes to B. Is that okay? Or
if you have a team, you can certainly, there's no restrictions on team members. It's just that they're all happening concurrently. So, right. I could not be in 3 workshops at once, though right. I would try, but I cannot.
Yes.
Yes. But if you have a teammate that was in evaluation while you're getting started, you can certainly split up that way.
Okay, good. If several questions came up when you mentioned sharing that login information, you're restricted to a single login, right? So you have to be careful there, and we just wanted to be several questions. Let me look at the detailed ones here. If you share your email with somebody else and they log in, you won't be able to log in, will you?
Correct.
Okay, so in other words, don't share your email.
No, and unless you're going to be able to go on Wednesday, and your colleague who, I'm not advocating for somebody that you didn't register, but if something happens and you're not going to be there Thursday, then perhaps they could use your credentials. But it's really to say, please register your full teams. Everybody should use their own email address to get into the platform, because again, if somebody else is using your email address, that you're not getting in.
Right. Here's a follow-up to that. Now, many of us, in the Zoom world know that sometimes you get disconnected, right? If you do get disconnected for whatever reason, can you get back in? I don't know if you know that.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
You can get back in.
All right, good. That's an interesting thing. People have asked, where will they be able to find the recording of this meeting so they can share it with their team members who weren't able to attend today?
It will be on the resource section of our website, so the ATEPI conference. So we'll post the recording and then also the slides if that's of interest. So we'll have those available.
I wanted to mention that resource tab is pretty good. I was looking under there. There's some interesting things. Also, the frequently asked questions right next to it are good sources of information as well. I was perusing those, and one question I had, and it was answered by looking there, is, can I log in with my iPhone? Can I do this over my phone? And the answer is yes. And they give the requirements, whether it's Android or iOS. So that means it's mobile friendly. That's good.
It is mobile friendly. I mean, we would certainly recommend you use a desktop. I think it would be hard to do some of this on your phone, but we certainly understand today's world. And if your only shot at getting this session is to pull it up on your iPhone, then by all means, access it there.
Ellen, if you're my age, there's no way you're doing this on your phone. You're doing it. If you're under 30, you're only doing it on the phone. Well,
this is true. This
I'm
is
just
true.
making that up. So, okay, good. Tell me the registration deadline again, although we all know it.
It's October 16th.
At
And
5
certainly
p.m.
if something comes in late, we can accommodate, but we really hope you get in by the 16th because there's other pieces. We want to make sure you have access to the Slack workspace, you're able to get into the platform. So the sooner you register, when all those pieces are rolled out, you know, you're a part of that.
Another registration question, and we're almost done. You mentioned that the evaluation pre-con is full.
Yes.
But the others are still open, but they are limited as well. Will there be a limit to registrations, or
there's not a limit to the Getting Started workshop. That is open to new PIs. But certainly, if you have a PI that's a veteran but wants a refresher on getting started, you're certainly welcome to sign up. So that does not have a limit. The President's Workshop does not have a limit, but it is it's geared toward presidents and upper level administrators. But
right.
if we have offered on the website, if you'd like for ACC to invite your president, we invited a large swath of presidents. We were targeting primarily those that were new to ATE or coming in through Mentor Connect or Mentor Links or some of these mentoring initiatives with the hope of really getting them interested in ATE. But certainly, so it's really geared toward those that are newer to ATE and helping them to support ATE funded efforts on their campuses. But certainly if you'd like for us to engage your president or invite them, please just email me or Courtney and we'd be happy to invite them to attend that workshop.
Good, thank you. Just reiterating a couple of chat comments. All times are Eastern time, and that makes sense.
Correct.
There was a couple of questions about the ATE Connect video requirements at 90 seconds, and boy, it is 90 seconds.
It is 90 seconds, and it's by design. You know,
sure.
Part is size, but part is if we had 10-minute videos across the board, no, people would not have the time to access that.
No, totally agree.
To really get through. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I realize that's a challenge.
Excellent. Ellen, I think that's it for our questions. I think you have a couple of context slides to show us.
Sure. I think it's just the general reminder that
sure.
AT Connects is today. And that's 5 o'clock your local time. Our registration deadline is the general reminder. It's on the 16th. I think this has been said throughout, but the general AT box, gets routed to whomever can answer that question. So it's a good place to go with anything, including registration. And then the phone number is specifically for registration related questions. And then our website.
The site is really well designed, I think, and there's a lot of information there. So I want to encourage everyone to take another look at that. I've spent some time on it today, and it looks sharp, Ellen. Thank you.
Oh, thank
Here's
you.
our very last question as we wind up today. You mentioned about the presidents, right? And it's important to have buy-in from that administrative level. How can a president invite members of his, sometimes they're called a cabinet, sometimes they're called a board. I mean, can their president extend an invitation? How would that work? Especially that pre-con workshop about the presidents. That's what we're talking about.
Sure, and I think that's just a matter of emailing us. We've certainly, when we sent out emails to presidents, we've had scenarios where the presidents couldn't go, so they designated, another member of their staff to do so, or said, I would really like my vice president of academic affairs to come with me. Can we do that? And yes, we're accommodating that.
Excellent.
I mean, this is an opportunity at one of those positives to the virtual environment where we have an opportunity to engage these administrators. So we would like to be able to do so.
No, it's good. And thank you to Courtney. She just said, look, send an email here and we'll send them registration information, those presidents. So thank you, Courtney. And Ellen, thank you for that answer too. Here's our very final question. What if the video is 93 seconds?
93 might get under the radar.
Okay.
But yeah, it's amazing what people have been asking. But for the most part, I have to say, people have been wonderful about it. I know it's a change and they've embraced it. And we've seen some very creative things done with them, and so they're largely very, very well done, and I think people have are really rising to the occasion. Though I know change is tough, and this one is especially tough when you have so much good work to share.
Ellen, here's our very last question. You mentioned the AACC has produced this conference for 27 years. How many years have you been doing it?
Oh my goodness.
What was that first year?
Not all 27, that's for sure.
No, but close though.
Yes. I think my first year was 1999. So
Amazing.
I've been around for a little while.
That's really cool. So it's clear your experience here in this conference, and also your good nature about how this is something new for all of us, right? And we're going to work together to make this happen. We like that very much. So thank you for that attitude. All right, colleagues, that officially ends the recorded part of our conference. I'll stop the recording now, and I'll leave the system open for a few minutes while people look at the chat. They might want to grab the chat recordings and things like that, Ellen, but I think that officially ends our system today. And thank you and Courtney very much for this presentation. Again, it'll take us about, I don't know, 24, 36 hours or so to process the recording, get it posted up on the site. So it won't be there immediately, this recording, but look forward in the next few days. I think that'll work. Great. Ellen, thank you again. It's a pleasure working with you.
A pleasure working with you, and thank you all. We look forward to seeing you virtually in a couple weeks.
Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and stop the recording right now, and then the system will shut down. Ellen, you can go ahead and stop sharing your screen, and then we'll end for today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.